Agud Moed Raboisai. Leilu Nishmas Chaim Oren. Just a couple of emails, and we'll go straight into the shir. It's Erev Yontif here in Eretz Yisrael. It's the 5th day in the Omer in America. Eretz Yisrael is already the 6th. And thank you for coming out. Thanks for the support. Dear Belly, we never met, nor did I ever do the daf till I attended the SEMA in Miami at the end of January and was very impressed by you, the attendance, and Rabbi Shapiro. So I started doing the daf. I'm here in Eretz Yisrael with the family, and I must tell you, a Maisa Shahaya. On Erev Yontiv, I was down in Shabbos at the Ramada and hoping for a scene with about another 15 other bachrim so we could have breakfast. Nobody there was able to make a seal. I piped up that approximately 10 days ago, I just finished Masechet Snaza on the daf with the rebellion. Everybody agreed I should do it. Never thought that I would be doing a siyum at age 68, let alone in the Holy Land. Wow, it seems like this first siyum, unbelievable. Mazel tov. So thank you for making learning the daf enjoyable, and it should be a zgula for all the cholim for refuah shleima, and for myself, as I was just put on a list for a kidney transplant. Wow, refuah shleima. Have a chag sameach, and thank you for the opportunity. Pesach Moshe ben Hinda Bracha, refuah shleima. Pesach Goodman from Miami. This is Avram Shlomo. He's only 13 years old, learning the daf while stuck in traffic. And the subject was nachas. It's 100% nachas for the family, for the parents, but it's also a very big nachas for me. Thank you for this unbelievable program. He's so proud to be part of it, and so are we. Penny and Gila Spira continue to have nachas, and we should see Avram Shlomo finish Shas B'Karev. The Koilel, sponsored by Anonymous, the Sotah is sponsored by Eli Stefansky, Leilu Nishmas Menachem Toporowitz, Menachem, Menachem Toporowitz, ben ybl'c Yehושע Doiv. The Parnas HaChodesh, last day, Leilu Nishmas Zechraya ben Moshe. I thought that was yesterday. Okay, maybe it's a mistake, but we'll give him one more day. Leilu Nishmas Zechraya ben Moshe. Parnas HaChodesh, the MDY Family, Leilu Nishmas Chaim Oren, Zechraya ben Eliyahu. Parnas HaChodesh, Leilu Nishmas Chaim bas Yosef. Parnas HaChodesh, the entire MDY Family, Leilu Nishmas Mנשה ben Moshe, Aharon, Mandelbaum. And Parnas HaYomi, Gedalia Miller from Kesher nafshi, zivug, agon, abachor, החשוב, Moshe ben Esther פיגא, Miller. And the art of the month for complete refuah for Chaim Tzvi ben Leah. Going back into that Gadata, and we're talking about Moshe Rabbeinu's Ptira, and where is he buried? Daf Yomi Amud Beis, all the way to the bottom. Now, some people ask, why did I do Daf Tesvav yesterday? Well, I feel that every day we should do a Daf. It's all about the Yomi. It's not about the Daf, it's about the Yomi. So every day we learn. Now, Daf Tesvav is on Yontif, and those who are in Eretz Yisrael, they want to learn something about Yontif. So I did it for them. Daf Tesvav is for them. It doesn't mean that we should do 2 daf in one day for them. So we do 1 daf, Yud Gimel yesterday, Yud Dalet today. Tezvav for them, I did yesterday. Understand? Okay. Says the Gemara. 2 or 3 lines from the bottom. The last word by me, it's the last word on the 3rd line. Vayikber oisei bagay. HaKadosh Baruch Hu buried Moshe Rabbeinu bagay, be'eretz Moav, in the land of Moav, Mul, right across from Beis Par. I'm going to go into all of these details. Omar Brechias Simin B'Seich Simin. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us many hints for the riddle and the puzzle. Where is Moshe Rabbeinu buried? He said it's in Gai, it's in Moav, it's in Par. There was a guy that wrote a book, right? He buried like $1 million, and he wrote a bunch of simanim. I think somebody found it then. Nevertheless, it says Mefurish in the Torah, nobody knows where Moshe Rabbeinu is buried. There are some kiruv organizations that bring this as proof the existence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because if a human being wrote a book and he made it up, then he would make some sort of grave and say he was buried there. He wouldn't write that he's not buried, that nobody knows where he's buried. Something like that. Okay. The Romans, they sent Eitzel Gistar shel beis par. Since Moshe Rabbeinu is buried opposite of Par, so they sent to the Bahar. Hareinu hecha Moshe cover. Some explain. HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't want Klal Yisrael to know where Moshe Rabbeinu was buried, because if they would know where he's buried, then any tefillah you daven there, HaKadosh Baruch Hu would listen to and have to answer. The Goyim knew this, and the Goyim didn't want Klal Yisrael to get there, so they wanted to block it off and make it a place that you can't get to, something like that. So they stood on top, right where it's supposed to be. So they thought, oh, if we go down here, that's where it is, right over there, down there in the valley. Lamata, once they got down there below, then they thought, oh, maybe we have to climb a little bit. So what do you do if such a situation happens? So they broke the group into two. You go down, we go up, let's see what happens. The kids are, nobody can figure it out. And nobody knows where Moshe Rabbeinu is buried. Moshe Rabbeinu himself doesn't know where he's buried. I heard, or I saw, I don't remember anymore, that since Moshe Rabbeinu was able to live in Shamayim, he was separate from his body. In other words, the neshama didn't have to come visit his guf. Like a typical neshama comes down and visits their body the first 30 days, the first year, yard site. Moshe Rabbeinu, his neshama didn't have a need for that, so never came to visit its body, and therefore he himself doesn't know where he's buried. Or that the caver of Moshe Rabbeinu was built and made in Sheshes Yemei Bereish by Ben Hashmoshes, with the chamar of Bilam, those things, because the Aron that don't take up room. So if it doesn't take up room, he himself didn't know, it doesn't take up a place in this world. He doesn't know where it is. Uchsiv hasam. V'zois habrocha sheberach Moshe ishu alikim. Varam chamer b'chanina b'nimal nikvar Moshe etzel beis par k'dei lechaper al ma'isa par. Why is Moshe Rabbeinu buried there? Okay, so he didn't come into Eretz Yisrael, but at least we could have buried him in Eretz Yisrael. Why did he have to be buried opposite Pa'ar? Terrible avodah zara. Says the Gemara. Oh, so to forgive Klal Yisrael, they went out there, they sinned with. So in order to understand a little bit more, we could jump into Taisus over here. Top Taisus, Umedrash Agada. It says in Agada, the Medrash. Klal Yisrael, the Bnei Ismael went to seduce Klal Yisrael and they sinned with them. So at that yard side of that terrible Aveira, so the base Pa'ar, whatever that means, goes up to Shema and says, look at your children, they sinned, you should punish them. And when base Pa'ar sees the burial place of Moshe Rabbeinu, because he's buried right there, he sinks back down to earth and he stops being Mekatrik and Klal Yisrael. Okay, the rest I don't really understand what he's saying. Moshe Rabbeinu shaka bekarka chaytmai was up to his nose. Okay, fine. Says the Gemara. V'omar Rebbe Chomer Rebbe Chanina. May dechsev achri Hashem alekeichem telechu. Achri Hashem alekeichem telechu. After Hashem, you should go. So this is the famous idea of Valachta B'dracha. You should go in Hashem's ways. What does it mean? Hashem is fiery. How could you go after? You should go after the ways of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Ramak, Moshe Kadevaro, wrote a famous sefer, Torah Dvara. Noam Fix named his seminary after the sefer, I guess. Torah Dvara. The whole sefer is based on this idea. Valachta b'dracha. You should try to emulate HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There's a special mitzvah. Let's see what we have it here. Yeah. Let's say you do chesed with your friend. So you mekayim b'aftal l'recha kamoicha. But in addition, to the V'ahavta l'recha kamoicha of Chesed, you also mekayim a mitzvah achrei Hashem lekechem teleichu v'alachta b'drachav. Says Gemara, Mahu malbish arumim d'chsiv vayas Hashem elikim la'adam ul'ishtei kasnei sa'or v'yalbishem. Hakadosh Baruch Hu made clothing for Adam and Chava. So he's malbish arumim. He does chesed. Like the first, that's how the Torah starts off with the chesed of Hakadosh Baruch Hu. So I was arguing with the Rosh Yeshiva literally 2 days ago about if a person makes, let's say, a kiddush, and he feeds people that have food at home. You know, your typical kiddush. You have food. You Baruch Hashem, we all have food. 1 or 2 people maybe are hungry. But the 200 other people that come to eat, but you're chunked, I told him it's chesed. He said, no, it's not chesed, because they could afford it themselves. We had a back and forth. But I have to show him this, because the Chofetz Chaim says right here on this Gemara, on this puzzle, Adam HaRishon also had everything. Had anything he needed. He had the whole world in front of him. Yet HaKadosh Baruch Hu went and gave him clothing. You see the ideas, this is the Chofetz Chaim says, based on this, that even a person who's wealthy and has clothing, and you help him out and you bring it to him, and maybe it was difficult for him at that point, but he was able to afford it, but you brought it to him, you made it easy for him, that is chesed. Okay, well, let's see what he says. Shiva, he's going to argue with me on it. So we have a special mitzvah to emulate HaKadosh Baruch Hu and give clothing to the needy. And when you give clothing to the needy, you're mekayim v'ahavta l'recha kamoicha, and you're mekayim achrei Hashem lekechem teleichu. 2 mitzvahs. HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'kechaylim d'chsiv vayera elav Hashem Eloheinu mamrei avato b'kechaylim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu was mevakechayla to Avraham Avinu. So you also should be mevakechayla. So Rabbi Yisai, as soon as Shir is over today, pick up the phone and call a chayla. Because we said, according to Rav Moshe Feinstein, you mekayim the mitzvah b'ikach chaylam on the phone. You said maybe it's not the same madrega, but you still mekayim. So you call up somebody, wish him good yontif, you mekayim this mitzvah. B'ikach chaylam, v'ahavta kamoicha, yisal b'drachav. HaKadosh Baruch Hu nichem avelim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Menachem Toporowitz. The chsiv vahi achri mois Avraham vayivarach lekim es Yitzchak v'noi. Menachem Toporowitz him, and he gave him a bracha at the end. Avato Nachim Avelim. I say this all the time, and I saw that I tripped up on it a little bit with somebody that I know very well, and their granddaughter was nifter, and I spoke to him now on Chalamayid, and I saw myself saying shtusam that I probably shouldn't have said. I said, "Oh, it was just learning a Gemara. This shtiyat. Gotta be careful what we say. It's better to just listen than to say anything." Like that, the famous mice. The guy asked the oval. He said, "What did your father have?" So the oval told him he had a small apartment, not that much, a small apartment, a couple of bucks in the bank. That's it. The kitzur, don't talk a lot of shtusim at the nichum avelim. Avadan acham avelim. Kishboch kovar meisim d'chsiv vayik b'roisim v'gai. Avadan kovar meisim. So there's a special mitzvah to be kovar meisim. The kitzur, it's not even midosav shalakosh baruch hu. Ma'urachum afatorachum ma'uchanov tachanov. All the mitzvah HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not just these things. It's to emulate HaKadosh Baruch Hu in all ways, to be compassionate and to do chesed and be kecholim and levayis hameis, etc., etc. So going back to Kasnei Sarah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu made clothing or. Now, you could read it with a lamed, or you could read it with a mem. It doesn't say, it just says or, hide, leather. So is it me'ar or le'ar? Does it come from skin? Does it come from a sheep? Or it's for the skin, for a human being? It's a big nafkamina. Rav Shmuel, Chadomar, Dover Abomin Ar, something that comes from skin. Wool comes from the skin of a sheep. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave them wool. Now wool, especially if you have sensory, is very bad on the skin. It doesn't feel so good. It should be something like linen that the skin enjoys it. So it's li'or, it's for the skin, not from skin. It's not wool, rather it's linen. So it's unbelievable. Rabbi Simlai says that the beginning of the Torah starts off with chesed, and the Torah finishes with chesed. This is the part we just said. It starts off right away. Hashem did a favor, did chesed with Adam and Chava, and gave them clothing. The final part of the Torah, Baruch buried Moshe Rabbeinu, which is chesed. He said this a number of times. But one of the big tricks in psychology is when you're giving somebody a little musar, you have an employee or a child, the best way to do it is in a sandwich. You have a bun and you have the meat in the middle. The meat is the musar. So you say, oh, you're such a great kid, it's unbelievable, I have so much nachas from you. But I don't appreciate it. You don't say the word but. I don't appreciate how you did this and this and that. You're such an unbelievable kid. So unbelievable in the beginning and the end, the sandwich. In the middle, you give the musar. So even though the Torah is full of, if you do this, you get skila, you mchal Shabbos, you get skila, you do this, you get karas, there's a lot of stuff in the middle. But the Torah starts and ends with the sandwich. See this idea even in the Torah. It starts out with good. Hakadosh Baruch Hu is giving. He's a goyim al chesed. It ends. Hakadosh Baruch Hu is kover the mason. The middle is the middle. Why did Moshe Rabbeinu want to go into Eretz Yisrael so badly? Once heard Rabbi Melinsky said on this Gemara that he once spoke to Zionist, non-religious Zionist, and he said, "You think we go into Eretz Yisrael? We move to Eretz Yisrael to eat its fruit, or that's why we come to Eretz Yisrael. All my Moshe, harbe mitzvahs in Stav Yisrael, ve'miskayim elabet Yisrael. There are many mitzvahs that I can't be mekayim chutzlaris, only in Eretz Yisrael. We moved to Eretz Yisrael, says Rabbi Galinsky, to be mekayim the mitzvahs, not for Zionistic beliefs, but to mekayim mitzvahs. Amalei Hakadosh Baruch Hu, kol mevakesh lekava sochar, ma'aleni olecha okilas isio. What do you want? You want the schar of it, which is hard to understand, but okay, that's the wording in the Gemara. You're trying to be mekayim mitzvahs that you can't be mekayim here. You know what? It's as if you did it. So the Gemara is going to explain all these words. He is a lashon of tefillah. So let's see each and every word. It says Gemara, could be it's too much lighting, no? It just looks washed out a little bit.
It looks really nice.
Oh, that one. Okay. What about that one?
Different contrast.
You're saying it's okay. On YouTube it will look decent. Okay. Oh, so let's start from the beginning. What does that mean? I'm going to give Moshe Rabbeinu like the rabbi. I'm going to, maybe it means I'll give Moshe Rabbeinu like I gave the later generations, not like the first generations. He's going to get awarded like the three avos. The great and Torah mitzvahs. Next, Moshe Rabbeinu gave himself over to death. He was willing to give up his life in order that HaKadosh Baruch Hu should forgive Klal Yisrael. What does that mean? He's counted together with the sinners, with the poishim. He's together with those who died in the midbar. Moshe Rabbeinu also died in the midbar for a different reason, but he's counted with them. He wasn't part of the Miraglim, but nevertheless. What does it mean? He took the burden of the sin of the community. Talking about the egel. What does it mean? For the poishim, for the sinners, he davened. Yavgia is a lotion of tefillah. Shebikish rachamim al poishi Yisrael shiachzer b'tshuva. So Moshe Rabbeinu davened for Klal Yisrael. They should do tshuva. Now, tshuva is something that's not so much in the hands of Hashem. It's akol b'dei shamayim chutz miyir shamayim. Tshuva is something that a person, yet you could daven that you have to make, basically Moshe Rabbeinu did a shtadlos that HaKadosh Baruch Hu should be merachem on them and open up their hearts that they should do tshuva. But the actual to be ma'ir rachem, to give them some sort of what's the word? No, push is not the word. Asairus, an awakening. The person himself has to do tshuva, but Moshe Rabbeinu daven. So basically, you have to do ishtadlus, and the way you do ishtadlus, the best way to do ishtadlus is through davening. That's what Moshe Rabbeinu did. We come out of the mashal like the reason why we work so much is ishtadlus for parnasa. It would almost be smarter to daven because that's the best way to do ishtadlus. Says the Gemara, that's the Chazanish. Chazanish says that the best way for ishtadlus is through tefillah. So the Gemara. Ve'im b'giya el tefillah. The word b'giya means tefillah. Shenemar b'ata al tispal be'adam hazeh. Don't daven for them. B'al tinose b'adam. B'al tisa b'adam. Rino tefillah b'al tifga bi. Don't daven to me. With that, Rabbi Yisai, Hadran Allah, Hamekana Lishtoi, Hadran Allah, Hamekana Lishtoi, Hadran Allah, Hamekana Lishtoi. Brand new parak. So we are familiar with this Mishnah. Those of you who were here yesterday in Daf Tisvav, so we're here. Haya, maybe es minchas, es minchasa, b'sot kfifa mitzvahs. Oh, before we go to the next Mishnah, I want to show you this. I forgot who says this. That flaw, maybe. Remember? Check this out. The word gmilos chasadim, the two words, gmilos chasadim, equals 611. 3 plus 40 plus 1, 30, exactly 611, which equals what? So, Torah and gmilos chesed equal the same number. The beginning of the Torah is chesed, the end of the Torah. Gets here. Back to my argument with my friend. What's more chashuv? How maybe is mechazav b'tech kfifa mitzvahs. So, not that this is a kfifa mitzvahs, but it's it's made out of a palm tree, some sort of string that they have, and this is the closest I could get to, made out of the lulav thing from a palm tree. Okay, it's not literally this. This is for demonstration purposes only. And he would bring the flour in this terrible basket. There's many other baskets that one could bring. So something to be samigdash. You could bring in a nice golden vessel, a silver vessel, a copper, a nice wooden vessel. This is like the worst of the worst. Why? Because we're dealing with the Sotah. Sotah, we want to embarrass her, we want to put her down, we want to discourage her, we want to encourage her to admit her chet. So Haya, who's Haya? The husband. Maybe it's mechaz b'tech kfifa mitzvahs. He'd bring the flour inside of one of these baskets. And he would give it to her, and she would have to hold it for the entire procedure. Whether it's for her to go back outside and come back in and talk to her and break her down and tell her you have to admit and everything that we saw. I don't know how long that takes. Let's say it's an hour. She has to sit there and hold it for an hour. Why? Gedalia to tire out. And the more tired a person is, the easier it is for them to admit the wrongdoing. Now, obviously, if she didn't do any chet, then she doesn't have to admit to anything. But if she sinned, then she must admit. Why? Because if she doesn't admit, what's going to happen? she might explode. All other menachos, when a person brings flour and something else, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, all the way in the beginning, from the house, you bring it in a holy vessel. And the Gemara is going to say that's not exactly the pshat. It means that it's a vessel that could possibly be, if you were to dedicate it to the Beis HaMikdash, would be a kli sharos. But it's in a very nice kli. Here's a picture of some of the kli sharos in the Beis HaMikdash. These are not necessarily made out of gold and silver. This one right here is made out of gold. We're going to use it a little later. This is what you receive the blood in. Not always, but sometimes. So you'd bring it from the house. The Mishnah understands right now you're bringing the house in one of these. But the Sotah tchilasa b'kfifa mitzris. But the Sotah starts out with this guy right over here. V'saifa. But at the end, it's in one of these b'kli sharos. In other words, right before you take the kmitza and the kohen digs in and takes 3 fingers worth of flour from it, you put it into kli sharos. As we're going to see, just to explain, the kli sharos has the ability to be mekadesh the mincha, to bring it up a level. Because before the kli sharos, the mincha is what? Kedushas damin. Only monetary kedusha. But once you put in the kli sharos, it becomes kedushas agov. It itself becomes tamei. Full yom touches it, becomes tamei. You can't redeem it, etc. Every mincha, you have to put in oil, you have to put in the frankincense, the levina. The pasuk says you don't give it any oil, you don't give it any good fragrance. And all the menachos are made from wheat. This one comes from barley. Minchas ha'omer. Oh, we're talking about the minchas ha'omer. Boy side, it's unbelievable because we just started the minchas ha'omer saying ha'omer. What's minchas ha'omer? Now, on the second day of Pesach, they bring a mincha from barley, as Gemara explained, but at least it has shemen and levina, barley. And that allows us to eat the new crop, because before that minchas ha'omer, you cannot eat from all the new wheat and barley, all the new crops you can't eat. It's called chadash. But once you bring the omer, it becomes yasha. In our days, where we don't have a minchas ha'omer, so after Pesach, we don't have a problem with the new crop. He always a bug geres. So it says in the pasuk, "V'imtakriv minchas bikurim l'Hashem aviv koli beish geres karmel takriv." What does geres mean? So geres is like soilas when it comes to wheat. Geres means that they would sift it in 13 sifters, a huge process of sifting until they had the finest of the fine. Whereas the zoo. But the Sotah ba kemach, you take the kernel, you put it in a grinder, and whatever comes out, comes out. What do they call it today? Whole wheat. I don't know what they call it. But it's everything. It's the brand. Everything is in there. It's just the lighting. It's not so much my eyes. I need more light. That's why it's hard for me to read. I have, but I'm not going to the whole thing in magnifying glass. Yeah, if it's necessary. If you see me making a mistake like that between a gimel and a nun, let me know. And we had on Daf Tesvav as well, but we're now before Daf Tesvav. Since she acted like an animal, so therefore her korban is ma'achal Tanya. Why does she have to hold the mincha? In order to tire her out, so she should do tshuva. Says the Gemara. Check this out. The Torah is worried about a woman who's mizana. And the Torah says, let's tire her out, let her admit, she doesn't have to die a terrible death. Let her live. But she's mizana. No. I care about her. Certainly if a person's not over such averes, think about how much HaKadosh Baruch Hu cares about you and your life, and He wants to do good with you. Says the Gemara, how do you know that the Torah cares about her? Maybe the whole point is that We don't want this Megillah, the ksav of the psukim of the Torah that have Hashem's name to go into the water and get erased. That's what we care. We care about Hashem's name. We don't care about the Zoyna. Says Gemara, Savar, Daf Yomi, Amud Beis, Mashko, ve'achar makriv es minchasa, because we hold that first we give her to drink and only afterwards we're makriv the mincha. The Mishum Megillah. We're talking about already that the Megillah was erased. It was all erased. MMA this Mandama holds that the mincha is what makes her explode. So she could still take it back, she could still admit her sin, and she won't explode, because what makes her explode is not so much the water as much as it's the mincha, and that's why we keep on trying to convince her Hashem's name was already erased, and we're not concerned about Hashem's name anymore. We're concerned about this woman. We just turned to Gedalia Miller Kesher, Vareleib ben Eliyahu Simcha Sheina Masha and Eliyahu Simcha Sheina Masha Bad Bracha and Latzlacha for the Magid, the members of the HBA Group and their families all made. Okay. Zog the Gemara. Kol amenachos v'reminu. Now, yesterday, when we're learning it, I think I might have said that this is going on the Mishnah. Okay. There's a big brisa here. And we're going to ask a question from the brisa. But we have to go through the entire brisa well, we could see the question in the middle of the brisa. But this is the procedure. Very good stuff. It says in the brisa like this. Say the menachos keitzad. How does the mincha work? Adam. So it says in the brisa that what? In the Mishnah it says that all the menachos are brought in a klisharis. Now we want to prove from this brisa that not every mincha is brought in a klisharis. And it's true. It's not. But in the Mishnah it seems like the mincha that a person brings from his house comes in a golden vessel, a silver, straight out of the Beis HaMikdash. You have to transport it with a klisharis. That's what it seems like from our Mishnah. Let's see the brisa. So the brisa like this. A person brings a mincha from his house, with a basket, shel kesef, made out of silver, shel zav, or gold. Okay, that's not a klisharis. That's just a basket made out of silver and gold from your house. It doesn't say anything about a klisharis. Right here is a big problem.
I thought the mincha was supposed to be something for if you couldn't afford the whole animal.
Right.
So
how does he afford? I don't know. Listen, even people don't have so much. They still have, some kiddush cup, something. I don't know, something. He borrows something. We'll see exactly. It doesn't. You could also bring it out of wood. We'll see. Benoisna, listen to this. This is important to just recognize this. Benoisna l'toich klisharis. So this is the first time the brisa mentions. Remember this. He puts it into a klisharis. We're going to go into explain a little deeper. And he makes it now holy and kadosh in the klisharis. What he's going to say from here, you see, you have to have intent. It's not just pouring it into the klisharis. It's he's mekadosh b'klisharis. He says it's kadosh. No. The v'nois l'klisharis and the story. What is umekacha b'klisharis? Mekacha means that he took action and he made it kadosh. V'noisen oleo shamno u'lev'noisa. Rashi points out immediately that this is not the kain. This could be even a Yisrael is permitted to put the shemen, the oil, and the levina on top, and only afterwards the melicha it's a kain. Then from here on out it's going to be the kain. He gives it the kain. The kain melicha etzel mizbeach umegisha bekeren. He put the kain goes all the way to the mizbeach. The big mizbeach, the ramp. I'll show you a diagram in a second. And he puts it on the corner. Now I'm going to show you something. Hopefully, if I ask you what corner it is, if you're an American, you'll probably remember this for a very long time. Here. What corner? Southwest corner. Huh? Because if I didn't show you this picture, I think after Shir, you would have. Is it north? What is it? North, northeast, southwest. Just remember, the best airline in America, or I don't know if it is anymore. Is it still rated? It's one of the top airlines in America. Ayin Sham, you get any seat you want. Everybody goes on the same time, basically, and the whole. You can take free luggage. One of the best airlines in America. Southwest. So, Deroimis Ma'arovis, Southwest. Kneged Chudo Shel Keren V'dayo. You put it. He puts. Now, what happens is, so let's just say, I just want to make sure that the Olam understands what's going on here. Let's say this is the Mizbeach and this is the Mincha. He goes like this. He just touches. He touches the Mincha with the Kli. Goes like that. So, he doesn't have to pour the Mincha on the Mizbeach. He doesn't climb up the ramp of the Mizbeach. He's on the bottom, on the floor. He's looking up top of the Mizbeach. He touches the Mizbeach. Where? Southwest corner. Now, let me just show you real quickly two things. So this is an animation of, again, going, now we're in the Ezras Nashim. We're going up the steps into Sharni Corner, going right into the Azara. Going into the Azara, we're going to bump into the Mizbeach, and he makes a left turn to go around the ramp. Once he gets around the ramp, he's going to hit the southwest corner. Because right now, we're facing west. A lot of stuff here is not how we're used to. Up is not north. And these things, even the art scroll, for whatever reason, I don't know why. I wish they would put, because that's how I'm used to maps. North is up, not here. West is up in this case. And I said, why is that wall blue? And this Sadi, what's your name again? You told me yesterday. What's your name? Jeremy Meisel. Okay, don't be insulted. I don't remember your name because I don't remember any. Jeremy said that the Gemara says that the wall has it looks like waves. It was like blue, green, marble. That's what they're trying to depict. So they're, in a way, they're right. I just don't. The reason I was shocked because all the pictures of the Beisamik, you don't see that color. But okay, you're right. Here we go. There's the Mizbeach taking a turn, making a right turn, left. There's the Kiyar, and that's the corner. Boom. You can see there's two little holes there. Those are drains for the blood. Okay. Now hold on a second. Here. This is a little better. This is a bird's eye view. That corner where the arrow is, and here's the opening to the Heichal, the 200-foot building, and you can see also I put the west over there. You see that it's west. So it's the southwest corner of the Mizbeach. That's where you touch. Okay. So, not on the top, on the bottom, on the wall. There's a wall of the Mizbeach. It's a giant wall. I forgot already how many. 10 amas. How tall is it? What? 10 amas. It's a 20-foot wall. So anywhere the guy is 6 feet tall, he puts it, touches the wall right where he's standing on the ground of the Azar. Okay, weiter. How many minutes are we already in?
33, 34.
34. Okay. Says the Gemara. All he has to do is touch it. So now there's the frankincense on top of the flour. He moves it over to the side. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Okay, we'll keep that over here. And he takes a kmitza. I'll show you a picture of that later. But he takes a kmitza, he sticks his hand in, and he grabs 3 fingers worth where there's a lot of oil. And then look at this. That's why I pointed out before. Remember it said over here for the second time. He takes the kmitza and puts it into a second klisharis. And then he takes all the frankincense, and he puts it on top of the kmitza, which didn't have frankincense any beforehand because he pushed it to the side. Now he puts the frankincense on top of the kmitza. And he puts it on top of the mizbeach with a klisharis, which the Gemara is going to explain that he takes it out, he pours it from the klisharis. And he puts a bunch of salt on it. And he puts it on top of the wood, on top of the fire on the Mizbeach. Once you put that 3 fingers worth of flour on top of the Mizbeach, and we had a yesterday machlokes, well, it's probably coming up to machlokes, whether part of it is burned or grabbed all of it, then you can start eating. The Kayhanim eat, and as more explained, they add a little bit of honey, they make it a little bit more tasty. The leftover flour is eaten. Oh, here. Here it says before in the Brisa, the Kohanim could put wine, oil, honey, it's the only thing they should be careful of is not to make it chametz. Pesach, Rabbi said Pesach. Okay, so we said this entire Brisa for the first line, that it says that he takes it from his house in a golden vessel. But it doesn't say anything about a klisharis. It's not a holy vessel, it's a golden vessel. You're right, it doesn't mean in a klisharis, it means it's an appropriate kli that could become a klisharis if you're mekadosh. Come out that this little basket made out of some sort of lulav string is no good. That doesn't go like the sign klisharis shall eat. If you took a klisharis made out of wood, Rabbi Pois or it says you shouldn't use something made out of wood. Says Gemara, he said when using a nice wooden kli that's beautiful, that's something you can use. This kind of weaved lulav thing, palm tree thing, that he didn't say. Why? So let me just, once I'm here already, let me just show you this. This is the Kmitza. And here's the pasuk. This is a very, very important pasuk. It's brought down on Shas a bunch of times. Not Daf Memhei, it's Daf Yudal, okay. So you bring a blind animal to Hashem. No, there's nothing wrong with it. You're bringing ein ra. What? It's not okay. It's lame. It's sick. And here's the words that everybody knows and familiar with. Would you bring this lame animal, a blind? Imagine giving a gift to the governor. Would you bring him a blind animal? Would you bring him a lame animal? How would the governor look at you if you brought him an animal that has a blind, a limping animal? He wouldn't like it. So treat HaKadosh Baruch Hu no less than you treat your governor. So Mela says, how could you bring Hashem to the Beis Hamikdash some cheap basket that's made out of reeds, whatever? You put it in a chashav kli. Next, he puts inside the klisharis, and he's he has to take action. He has to say, I want it to become kadosh. Hold on, I'm going to pull this out for a second. What does it say here? That didn't help. Oh, this works. Oh, gewaldig. Look at that. Ah, it's the lighting. I couldn't see without the thing. Now I see beautiful. Let's see if I don't even need this. I just need more light. There we go. Okay, fine. The bottom line is that, again, let's do chazara. When a person brings his mincha, he brings it in his wicker basket. What does it become? Kadosh kedushas damim. Only it becomes kadosh on a lower level of monetary value. But once he puts it in the klisharis and he says, I want this to become kadosh, then it becomes the highest level of kedusha, kedushas haguf. It becomes just like a karba. Says the Gemara, the reason why he put it in the klisharis is to be mekadosh. Great. So it doesn't mean that's basically what you were saying before. It doesn't mean that he has to be mekadosh. It just means he put it in there so the kli should be mekadosh by itself. So you put the oil in it, and the levaina shenemar v'yasik shemen v'nosan levaina. It's a pasuk. Or if it's a kohen, the chsiv, another pasuk that says that you should bring the kohen v'vil b'nei Aaron. Another passage that says the kohen should bring to the mizbeach. Magisha can join into my rob is connected chudashul karen zavis Vidaya. No, and that's all you have to do is put it on the corner. Minalon, how do you know they should put it on that corner? So the Gemara explains. Here's the key word. Where do you put it? Where do you bring this mincha? In front of Hashem. Now, if we go back to this picture, where's Hashem, so to speak? Hashem is in the Kodesh HaKadoshim. Further into the Heichal, past the Heichal, into the Kodesh HaKadoshim. So you're supposed to put the mincha in front of Hashem. It's like lahavdil in front of the Aron Kodesh. Okay, it's supposed to be in front of Hashem. Where's the Aron Kodesh? Where's the Aron? Where is the Aron? The Aron is in the Kodesh HaKadoshim, in the back, where that red line is. You follow that red line and you go straight in through that door. It's l'fnei Hashem. But then it also says the next words: El Pnei HaMizbeach, in front of the Mizbeach. Look at this picture. Where's the front of the Mizbeach? You see the ramp? The ramp is facing up the Mizbeach. You climb up the Mizbeach, you go up the ramp. So where's the ramp? The ramp is on the south side of the Beis HaMikdash. Where's Pnei Hashem? On the west side. The Kodesh HaKadoshim is on the west. So we have a little bit of a dilemma. Maybe you should do it on the west side, which is facing the Kodesh HaKadoshim. Should be in front of the Mizbeach, which is on the south side. Maybe it should be on the south side. We have a contradiction. Okay, so what do you do? Have all the days, put it on the corner, the southwest corner, and you'll be yaitza both psukim. Fine. Maybe I could do either one or the other. I don't need both. Anytime you find two psukim, if I could do both, do both. Or you have an option to do one, which is a problem with the second pasuk. Says we have a yesod. Why do something when it contradicts something else? Do something that you could be to all shitas. So if you only do in the west, you're going to be mevatel. The pasuk says you should do it in the south. Now he says, I have a stand a little bit to the south, and I'm going to show you how this works. It's beautiful, and I could be yoitza both. Okay, it's that. You should be standing on the south side of the corner. Don't be mamish in the corner, but on the south side of the corner. How? Check this out. Don't miss this. There's only one little problem. I don't like where you put the arrow. I would have put it a little bit more south. But nevertheless, you could understand the idea from this. Check this out. Here's the arrow on the southwest corner. And now, he holds that the square part of the Mizbeach, minus the ramp, we don't include the ramp, is on the north part of the Azara. You see, there's a dividing red line that goes from the door of the Heichal to the door of Shani Corner, right? There's a red line. One side is the north, one side is the south. He holds that the entire Mizbeach, the other Mandomer held that half of the Mizbeach is on the north and half is on the south. No, the entire Mizbeach is on the north. We push it over past the red line. Forget the ramp. Imagine there's no ramp, okay? The article actually takes out the ramp, so it's not so confusing. But the entire square, the 32 by 32 square, square, is all the way on the right. And maybe what happens, if you're standing where the arrow is, you're literally facing the Kodesh HaKadoshim, but you're also on the south side. I would drop that arrow for the book and for future, right, I'll drop the arrow a little bit. I don't know, in inches, but you know what I'm saying? Like a few feet down. It should be, the arrow should be closer to where the ramp starts. Okay, why? Because it says that he's on the south. He's on the south wall. He's not on the corner anymore. He's on the south wall. He's next to the ramp. He's standing between the ramp and the mizbeach. Let me see if I could. I don't want to mess anything up. Let's see if I can do this. Yeah, beautiful. I have a laser pointer. I would put it right over here. See, right over here. Why? Because right over here, he's on the south part of the mizbeach, but he automatically is facing west, this way. Yeah? Do you understand?
Yeah.
Understand? Good? Okay. Now let's see if we can get rid of that. Yeah. Okay. Givaldic says, how much time?
51 minutes.
51. Okay, we're almost done. Maybe not. For that, we need a little water, and then we can run. So, what does it mean? And that's enough. Or I meant to say, maybe you take out the here. Maybe you have to touch the top part of the flour. You have to put the flour onto touching the mizbeach. All you need is the green part of the basket to touch the mizbeach. That's it. Maybe you have to touch the flour or makrov, it says in the same pasuk, you should give it to the kohen and he brings it to the mizbeach. How do you give it to the kohen? You don't pour a bunch of flour in his hands. You give him a vessel. So to the kohen, when he gives it to Hashem, he touches the vessel, not the actual flour. Then he moves the levina to one side. Maybe I'll just use it for the light. Oh, Givaldic. You don't want any of the frankincense, the levina. If I was in Eretz Yisrael, I have a bag of levina that Jonathan got me. I would show you, but it's a certain spice. You don't want any of that spice to touch the mincha, because it's not like we learned in the Mishnah, comments of if you did kmitza, you gathered some of the flour with 3 fingers, and inside it is a tiny little pebble, even 1 grain of salt, or a little piece of the levina, puzzle, it makes the whole mincha puzzle. It has to be a pure mincha. You should stick your hand in and grab some of the flour that has a lot of oil. This is mafurish. From the soils, from the flour and the oil, if you're doing it from barley, also from the barley flour and the shemen. I pointed out when we were reading it, he put it in 1 klisharis and then he puts it in the 2nd klisharis. Why is that not enough? It says, we said that the mincha is basically step for step like a carbon. The carbon has shchita, kabbalah, hilachas, rika. So too, a mincha also has those 4 avodas. So when it comes to an animal, when he shechs it with the knife, the dam becomes kadosh. Nevertheless, you have to put it into klishares. Therefore, also by a mincha, you need 2 steps. You have to put into the klishares the 2nd time. And finally, one last line. It says mefurish that the mincha has levina raboisai. Have a wonderful moed, a good yontif, and be'ezer Hashem, matzah yontif, 10 o'clock Chicago time, which is 11 o'clock New York time. And then from there on out, we'll have pretty normal shiurim, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. We'll give you the schedule a little later. Agut and Yishkoyim for coming.